Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome to the 9th episode of this Starcraft 2 Newbie Guide. So in the previous episode, we did a little bit more versus AI and got this bar yet even further along. So we're right at the edge of the harder segment and are about to move into the very hard segment. However, that will have to wait for a future video, as this video is going to be covering a little bit of Protoss play. And I don't want to do it here in the versus AI section because Protoss is not my main race. Zerg is my main race, so we are going to be progressing through this with Zerg. But as Protoss, I want to play a custom match instead of here in versus AI. It's a fairly often requested feature or aspect of the guide that we cover Terran and Protoss play a little bit, as well as all the Zerg that we're doing. And it's a good idea, because newbies watching the guide probably want to get a good view of what Terran and Protoss are like, and we've already got some Terran in the guide, so we're going to be playing Protoss today to cover a game as that race. Truth is, I like playing as all three races. I like Terran, Zerg, and Protoss, and I've liked all three races in all 5 installments of StarCraft. Yes, there have been 5. There's been StarCraft, StarCraft Brood War, which was the expansion to StarCraft, then there came StarCraft 2, which was comprised of 3 different parts: Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void. So you've got 5 installments of StarCraft, and throughout all 5 of them, I have enjoyed playing as all 3 races. I just happen to main Zerg because that's what I played. That's what really got into. That's what I really liked playing. I really liked the concept and the gameplay of Zerg in StarCraft, the original StarCraft, and I've stuck with that ever since. So in any case, I feel like if I played Protoss here in versus AI, which is not my main race, and we're getting more and more challenging, we're getting into more and more challenging situations, I think that there's a chance, a fairly good chance, that the commentary would come across a little rushed, the gameplay would not be as clear as it could be, and I don't know, I just feel like it wouldn't really give a good view of Protoss to a newer player or a newbie or someone who's just interested in the race, and it may very well hinder our efforts to fill up this progress bar. So like I said, we're going to be playing as Protoss, but in a custom match. So I'm going to hit custom here. We're going to play on Omicron. That seems fine. Yeah, I think we'll play on Omicron. Maybe one... no, you know what? We'll go ahead and play on that one. And I should just hit create game now, right? Yeah, that'll put me into a 2v2 lobby. But we're going to change it over to 1v1. We're going to play on faster speed, which of course is the default multiplayer speed. I'll be playing as Protoss, color green, and we're going to add our AI opponent. Now we're playing on the tougher difficulty, the tougher part of the harder difficulty, which is this one right here, in the versus AI section, but we're going to drop it down to hard to play as Protoss. I think I can handle a hard AI opponent as Protoss. I want to cover just some of the basics of Protoss. I want to give a good overview. I don't want to try and explain everything that's going to be happening on screen, so you're basically just going to get a feel for what Protoss is like. Again, I'm not going to cover everything. To try and do that would be to try and pack too much commentary into the match, and that would probably slow things down, or I don't know, I feel like it just wouldn't come across that clearly. So again, this is just going to be a bit of an overview. So we're going to play 1 game, maybe 2, depending on how fast this one goes. So anyway, hard difficulty, our assistant here is going to be playing a hard difficulty as a random race. That's fine. Doing any build, that's also fine. 1v1 faster, I think we're good to go. Let's hit start game. So I am interested in how you, dear viewers, are doing in your StarCraft play. If you've been following along with this, if you're a new player, if you're an experienced StarCraft player and have been playing or haven't been playing, basically whatever your preference is, or if you're just viewing for entertainment value and not playing StarCraft, let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you in regards to this. So it looks like we got a starting point there, there, and there, so that's pretty cool. I think I want to send out a probe early on and get some scouting done just to see if we can find our opponent like that. Alright, so we're going to get some probes going. And we're already at 15 of 15 supply, so we're going to need to drop a pylon here. Yes, thank you very much. I was just mentioning that. So I'm going to drop a pylon here in the middle of our base. Pylon serves 2 purposes. It creates this power field, and all Protoss structures need a power field. They need power from a pylon in order to function, so it's going to give us this power field, and it's also going to increase our supply. So that's how Protoss increase their supply. And of course probes are their workers. So now that that's open, now that that's done, we can begin building structures. We're going to start off with a gateway. And actually we're going to go ahead and put 2 assimilators down. And of course these will enable us to get to harvest gas for the Protoss. Notice how a probe, a single worker, is able to place down multiple structures, and the structures will continue warping in on their own. It's a very unique thing to Protoss. It's very cool. Ah, looks like we found Zerg here, who are just getting up their spawning pool, so that's cool. And we should continue to make probes since, you know, we can. Go ahead and put down another pylon in a different location so as to increase the coverage area of our power field. Okay. And we'll start harvesting up some Vespene gas here. Alright, so we can train a Zealot now from this gateway. And the gateway's completion gives us access to a cybernetics core. And we are going to place it there so we can form a solid wall here, a blockade for our ramp, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. There's going to be one little opening that our units will be able to get through. We need to get this probe back in first, though. And let's get harvesting some Vespene gas here. Alright, so we've got this Zealot. Oh, apparently there's a little spot right here, too. So I didn't build this wall off, actually, all that securely. I am not a Protoss main, but there is a way to do that. We might cover that a little bit more in the future. But this is a newbie guide. I'm not really looking to cover specifics or in-depth strategies about the races, so I'm not sure how much in-depth I should go about that sort of thing. In any case, the idea is to use the building grid to create a wall off here. And we can kind of do that with a few extra units. It should work just fine. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the Zerg is going to start building up some structures soon. I want to get a mothership core out, which can train from the Nexus. You know what? We need to get some gateways out so we can begin producing military structures. From the cybernetics core that we built here, we can research warp gate technology, which is incredibly useful. So we're going to start doing that.
Justice has come.
Alright, we should be fairly walled off here now. No units can get through this wall of structures, or these units who have been set to hold position right there, which means they won't move from that spot, even if they spot an enemy. So we got our mothership core. I'm going to take the mothership core out here and get it near the Zerg base. What can this even do? I don't really use mothership cores at all. Photon overcharge. Alright, we can use that to defend our base. Mass recall. That's pretty cool too. And I'm pretty sure she has an attack, so that's useful. Now, I'm going to take the chrono boost function from our Nexus and put it on the cybernetics core there. And that's going to enable us, and that's going to enable the cybernetics core to operate at 15% faster speeds, so we'll get that warp gate technology even sooner.
You must construct additional pylons.
Yes, I just set one down. It's fine, thank you. Alright, so let's get even more pylons going. Once Protoss get ramped up, they can produce a lot of units very rapidly. Alright, so let's see what our Zerg opponent here is doing. Can you attack? Yes, you can. That's a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Banelings right there. So, we're going to let this warp gate technology finish while we get some more stalkers out. We've got some units here. It might be enough to hold off what they're planning. I want to see if Zerg is expanding, so I'm going to take my mothership core and move her out in this direction here.
I'm here in the shadows.
Yes, you are here in the shadows. Warp gate technology is about to finish, and we're going to show you what this does.
Research complete.
I can select all of our warp gates now and hit G for warp gate 4 times. And that's going to transform these warp gates, or these gateways, into warp gates. And what a warp gate does... I thought I had a forge here. Let's build a forge. What a warp gate does is it enables us to select all the warp gates with the W key, and now instead of training units inside of the gateway, and then they move to a rally point, now you can warp units in anywhere there's pylon power by holding the shift key once you've selected the type of unit that you want. It's really useful and cool stuff.
We stand as one.
That feels like a slow warp-in speed. I figured they'd come in a lot faster than that, but I don't know, whatever, it works. Not sure if I need to upgrade something else for that to work. Anyway, our forge is finishing, so we're going to upgrade Protoss shields, which will help our units sustain a little bit more damage. Actually, no, I'm going to go with Protoss armor instead of shields. Should be okay. Alright, so we've got a lot of resources just sitting there. So let's keep making use of our gateways here. And we're going to fill up our supply really quickly if we're not careful. Incoming Zerg attack. Notice how these hold position zealots are going to hold these units in place as much as they can before the banelings get to them. Alright, so we were able to hold off that attack. Now I want to make a counterattack here. Let's get the mothership core moving. I'm pretty sure that attack didn't have just nothing going on behind it. However, I'm going to take the opportunity now to expand. Defense system's failing. Alright, so we got some Ravagers here attacking our mothership core, who moves fairly slowly. What does Time Warp even do? Oh, it's a slow. Alright, so there's an expansion coming out for Zerg here. We're going to move our mothership core out here. Maybe we can hit this expansion. Or if we do some micromanagement here to make sure we don't get hit by that area effect attack of those Ravagers there. Let our Zealots do their thing while we take out as much as we can. Now, while this is happening, I'm going to go back to base and warp in some more units. Alright, so I'm hoping to take out this expansion here. And I also want to build a Twilight Council, which is, I think... yeah, it's C over here in Advanced Structures. This is going to enable me to upgrade some pretty cool stuff for our Stalkers. Alright, so they're sending some defenses in this direction. They got some Zerglings coming in. We want to hit this expansion. We want this expansion to go down, so let's focus on this. Alright, let's get out of here. These Zealots are sticking behind a bit. I don't want that. Alright, so we got one Changeling here. We're going to pop that Changeling. Also going to take out these Zerglings. No, we're going to pull back. We're going to pull back over here, and... wow, we got a lot of minerals, don't we? So we're going to need a lot more gateways. But I'm really focused on getting one of these expansions up and running. I actually don't think I started one. I said I was going to, but I actually did not, because I didn't know what the closest expansion was. Alright, so we're going to have to move out to this direction. We have a probe that's going to build this Nexus, and 3 pylons, and 2 assimilators, and then get back to working over here. Meanwhile, a probe in our base is going to build 4 more gateways. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. And then get back to mining some minerals. We're pretty late on this expansion, it feels like. I don't really know timings for Protoss units, but we do have a lot of resources in the bank, so to speak. And I feel like it's a good idea to keep the upgrades going, so let's upgrade ground weapons, and then queue up ground armor and queue up shields. That way we just make sure and know that we have a lot of resources coming in, or a lot of upgrades coming in. I'd really like to see this Nexus finish a lot sooner, but we don't really have that luxury, do we? So, we're just going to keep warping in units.
You have not enough minerals.
Not enough minerals. Yeah, I know. We're low on that kind of stuff, aren't we? So we got some probes coming out.
You have not enough minerals.
We really need to get some minerals up. Alright, so I need to chrono boost this Nexus and have it produce more probes. And rally those probes to these mineral patches. Rally probes to these mineral patches. There we go. Alright. Units don't come from a Nexus, except for probes and mothership cores. So I guess some do. Alright, whatever. So let's see if they've decided to rebuild their expansion. We want to keep an eye on that. They have rebuilt this expansion. Let's go ahead and take a few shots and see what their army looks like. Doesn't look like they have a whole lot in the way of army to stop this mothership core from doing her thing. Alright, so we got these warp gates. We're going to turn them into gateways as well. Whoa, 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 here's their army. Gotta pull the mothership core back. Actually, the mothership core got taken down. Alright, we've got our Twilight Council, so we're gonna upgrade Charge and Blink. What is Resonating Glaives? Oh, Adepts, okay. Alright, so we're researching Charge and Blink from our Twilight Council. We're gonna put an overcharge on that. Or, sorry, a chrono boost on that. Alright, so we're able to hold off one of their attacks. Looks like we got a changeling here. Yeah, we got a changeling there. Gotta clear those out. So the Twilight Council is where you can upgrade Blink and other abilities for your units. Zealots with Charge become much stronger. Stalkers with Blink become much stronger as well. Alright, looks like we're actually doing okay as far as saturating this base is concerned. I want to get the next expansion ready, because Protoss can saturate a base really quickly. So we're going to have this probe start building that next one while these upgrades complete. We've got more mineral fields being depleted out here, so we're going to send some probes off in this direction. There we go. So now we've got some income. Need more zealots for the front line. I want to make an attack now. They seem to be building up a fairly sizable force, so we're going to move out. Looks like we have a changeling or something being dropped off in this direction. Going to leave some units behind. So look how many gateways we have now. We've got 8 gateways set up. But we are low on minerals. Alright, they got another expansion that they're trying to work on here. Let's go ahead and hit this one. No doubt they're going to be moving their army over here to take this out. Ah, they got some Mutalisks up. Alright, I probably should get another mothership core, actually. Doesn't look like they have a whole lot to stop us, does it? Or they're just holding back. I think taking out this expansion earlier was really good for us. Let's move our stalkers over here. Our zealots should already have charge, but our stalkers really need to get that blink going. Let's check on the status of that. Wow, it's got a ways to go. Alright, so for future reference as Protoss, get blink started early, because it is a long upgrade. It seems like most Protoss upgrades are pretty long. You really need to make good use of that chrono boost. So, we're going to warp in some more units over here. And, because we're right here, and the opponent seems to have not a lot in the way of units that can stop us, because they teched pretty hard. They went for a very economic and tech-heavy route. So they've got things like a Spire already, but they didn't have a whole lot to back that up. Gonna move some units up. There's the GG. GG hard AI. I will say yes to their surrender vote. Alright, maybe we'll do another custom game and we'll set it to harder. Let's go to score screen. That way that's not just the only Protoss game that we put up. This one may result a little bit differently, or there may be a different result here, but we'll see how it goes. We can try something like... I think we already tried Central Protocol. Maybe a 2-player map to facilitate a little bit more in the way of skirmishing. Something smaller. Yeah, I think we'll go for something smaller. Maybe like Orbital Shipyard. Sure, why not? A little bit of a smaller map. Let's try that. Let's create a game. Against a harder AI. Might make for a little bit more of an interesting setup here. 1v1 harder. Any race is fine. Any build. So let's start this game up and see how that goes. So I hope that was able to give you a little bit of an overview as to how Protoss function. They're very interesting. They're very fun to play. So here we go up against a random opponent here. I think this one has an easy expansion. Let's take a look here. Here's the ramp. Yeah, this one has an easy expansion. This expansion is actually in the back of the base. As you can tell, there's really no ground routes to it. So because this one has an easy expansion, we're going to go for a fast expand this time around. Really get an economy going. I hope the opponent chooses not to rush, though. We're not going to get a scout out just yet. Actually, yeah, we will. We're going to get a scout out just because I want to see what race they are. so I can know what we need to do, really. Maybe I can try another wall off. Let's try that. Let me put this right here. Yes, I must construct additional pylons. Thank you. You go here, then here. Okay, well, we gotta let this pylon finish, so while we're waiting for that, Nexus costs 400, right? Yeah. We're gonna get a probe out here, because we're only 100 away from that. Actually, the pylon's finishing, so I guess we'll start the gateway. So let me try and plan this out here, so I can have an actual wall off this time. I think this is fine. I think that's where we need it. And now we're gonna move down here and plant a Nexus. Okay, we're gonna plant the Nexus, and then we're gonna run off in this direction. Alright, so we've got our probe. It's a Protoss player. They got their gateway up, and I want to check their expansion to see if they're going for an early expansion. They have a second pylon. It kind of makes me feel inclined to get one too. Again, I'm not a Protoss main, so seeing the AI going for a second pylon this early, tells me maybe I should get one too. So, hey man, scouting is useful in a lot of ways. So their gateway is just finishing. Mine is still on its way, so I took a little bit longer getting my gateway started. Alright, so we're going to get our probe back over here and train a mothership core. Well, actually we need a cyber core first, so let's get a cyber core up. Alright, let's see if I can actually get this to work right this time. There we go. This should be an actual working wall off. So we're going to add... This is going to be control... These two are going to be control group 5, because that's just what I do with my central structures, like command centers and things like that. Let's get some assimilators up and running, because we know how quickly probes train. And keep training up some probes there. Get a zealot in the works and set him to rally in that one spot. Now there will be no way to get in here, and we're just going to have one zealot that needs to block off that whole thing. Alright, so we are going for an econ-based build, which means if they go for an early attack, we will be in a little bit of trouble. But hopefully they won't do that. Once the cyber core finishes, we can get it immediately on warp gate tech. No, we can't, because we don't have probes on gas. So let's get some probes on gas. Alright, so we're going to set the zealot to hold position, and then train up some... Well, you know what, let's train up some stalkers.
You require more Vespine gas.
Okay, let's train up some zealots. There's that. So now we're going to get some probes working over here. Get us another pylon. Or two. And keep... Actually, I want this mothership core next. Yeah, I really want to get a mothership core out there, because that first little bit of scouting was fine, but we need to know what they're doing now. Knowing what their first structure is isn't going to help us too much. It's probably time to get a few more warp gates on the map. There we go, it's a good start. Got to keep those probes pumping out, though. That will be enough for that base. I'm going to keep pumping out probes, keep pumping out pylons. Alright, so we've got our mothership core. We're going to move her out the long way here. Going to set her on control group 0. Or for me, the thumb button on my mouse. I have two thumb buttons, but it's the back one. Okay. Let's get that working. More and more probes. Heavy econ. Really like to get warp gate bonuses going. We're going to put Chrono Boost on this, and I think we're going to start that Citadel early, or that Twilight Council early, so we can get Blink and Charge going really quickly. I got very accustomed to Blink and Charge in the campaign, which are just given to you. You don't have to research those. So I really want to have them here. Alright, so we just saw the opponent's probe come try and scout us out, but it's not working because we have this wall off here. No units can get through that. Not even Zerglings. No units of any size can get through that. We're going to get this Nexus also producing for that. I also want to get... I know that 2 bases for a Protoss player, which is what we have right now, can sustain 8 gateways. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need one more here. Alright, so we gotta let this finish researching warp gate, and then we'll turn all of these into warp gates, and then it can begin warping in massive amounts of units very quickly. Because we're going for an econ build, I want to go for something a little bit more advanced than simply Zealot Stalker. But we are going to need things like a forge anyway, so let's get that going. think I might go for something like Void Rays. Oh, they have not expanded yet. If I'm correct, this is the expansion that they would naturally take. They may be planning a very aggressive early attack. I don't like that. It's a lot of units, and they don't have an expansion. That tells me there could be some trouble coming in. So, research complete. Let's go ahead and get our gateways up. It's the most important thing right now because we want to start training in as many units as we can. We've got plenty of pylon space for it, or plenty of supply for it. And now we've got... I thought we had all of our... Oh, this one's got to be one too. Alright, so let's get some units on the field. Yeah, I'm a little worried that they're going to press their attack. Let me move up with my mothership core here and see if she can spot them. Okay, where's that? Here it is. We're going to get Blink first and then charge. Because I seem to favor stalkers.
I am the voice. You have not enough minerals.
Well, let's get more minerals then.
I am here.
Looks like we only need 2 more probes.
I am here.
Well, they haven't moved out. They've got a good defense. I really want to find out where their expansion is. If they're not moving out right now... There they are. They are moving out right now. Let's get some units firing. Let's get the Zealot back. Let's warp in some Zealots. Pull our Stalkers back. Let the Zealots intercept. Okay, so we were able to train up a force large enough to hold off their initial attack. They have not expanded to their 2 closest expansions yet. They may be working on an expansion over here. Now I'm going to take a probe and move him out here. I actually just want to get some forward pylons out on the map in like little tucked away places like this and here and right here. Places closer to their base so that we can use the power fields of those pylons later to warp in units in the field. I'm going to take this opportunity to expand again. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity to expand again because that just seems like a good idea. Let's get some more Zealots out in the open here. Let's get moving. This is actually a fairly large map. Even though it's a 2-player map, it's still fairly large. Alright. Oh no! Okay, so our probe came under attack, but was able to start up a pylon over here. So we're actually going to use this once this finishes. We're going to treat it kind of like a waypoint. Not a waypoint in the mechanical sense, which is like holding shift to give additional orders to be queued up, but a waypoint as in a place for us to actually set up. So we're going to get some more Zealots for the front line here. Just warping them right out in the field. In fact, these warped-in Zealots got here before these Zealots did. Not really, they get here at about the same time, don't they? Okay. Alright, let's attack up here because this is where we saw their troops. We'll warp in some more Stalkers in this direction here. Mineral fields are depleting. It's a good thing we've got another expansion already building. They're doing a number on our Zealots, but our Stalkers are able to do a number on them there. Alright, so now we've got to get up this ramp. So we're just going to blink our Stalkers up there. We need some more Zealots, so let's get some more Zealots nearby. Just like this. Get them in here. So notice how I was scouting out the opponent. Constantly keeping tabs on where they were, what they were doing, where their expansions were. Trying to predict what their next move would be. Turned out to be pretty accurate, actually. Alright, so now we got this freaking photon cannon back here. Let's blink on top of it and take it out. Blink, extremely useful. Our Zealots also have charge, but we're pretty much done with this game. Pretty sure the computer's just going to GG at this point. Send our mothership core and a Zealot over here to take a look at what's building. Ah, they have some stuff over here, so be careful, mothership core. Be very careful. Let's go ahead and finish off all of these structures. Let's get some more Stalkers in. So I hope this gives you a pretty good overview. of what Protoss is like. Again, I didn't get into very many advanced units with them. But that's because these games didn't go very long. We just played a very good strategic game. Applied some really good fundamentals. Like scouting and applying pressure. And trying to keep up with our macro. I'm not going to say our macro was pristine or anything like that, but I mean, it was good enough to win. Alright, we need to take out these photon cannons. We're going to pick off this one first. We're going to group half of them and blink them this way, and group the other half, blink them this way. And surround these probes, make sure these probes have no way out. And this should be GG right here. And make sure their forces have no way to rebuild at this point. There's the GG. Thank you very much, Harder AI. You've been a wonderful assistant. A very great assistant indeed. I will say yes to the opponent's surrender vote. And that should do it. So that should give an overview. Give a good feel of what Protoss is like, the kind of stuff that they're capable of. I think if games went a little too long, I wouldn't really be able to keep up all that well. I'm mostly, when it comes to Protoss, I mostly deal in the gateway type stuff because I really like warp-in. I like being able to use it to supplement my army, to reinforce my army immediately out in the field. I like using it whenever there are surprise attacks on my base to defend my base. So I don't really go for things like robotics bays or stargates, which produce robotic units and air units, respectively. I don't really go for that kind of stuff with Protoss all that often, so I didn't really have a clear path to get them here. I just closed out the game both times with warp gate technology, which is fairly early stuff, but can actually be a viable strategy, as you've seen here. But yeah, if the games went very much longer, things might have got a little bit more disorganized again, because I'm not that experienced with late mid-game to mid-game, or late mid-game to late-game Protoss. But there is that. Oh, they've also got these awesome Tempest units, which we've seen in one of the previous episodes, attacking my Broodlords whenever I played a longer Zerg game. So yeah, every race has their late-game units, which are really cool. Protoss is no exception. Terran, Zerg, and Protoss all have really cool late-game units. Battlecruisers, Ultralisks, carriers, all kinds of really cool stuff for all the races. In any case, once again, I hope this was a good overview for those of you who are interested in Protoss. And yeah, I'd like to hear from you, where you're at with your gameplay, what you're doing with StarCraft, if anything. If this guide is helping you out at all. If you're, just let me know if you're like currently on versus AI and you're halfway through the bar, or if you're already playing on ranked, or if you're in ranked play or doing tournaments or what. Since it's a newbie guide, I don't really anticipate many of you are that far along, but that could very well be the case. It could be the case that you guys are moving that far along. Anyway, like I said, I want to know. I want to hear where you're at right now, because that'll give me a good idea on where I can focus in future videos and stuff, because we're approaching the point now, aren't we, where it's not really a newbie guide anymore. We're not really explaining how to play StarCraft at its most basic level. We're not talking about move commands, and we're not talking about waypoints, or like the different ways races build structures. Well, I guess we kind of covered a little bit of that here, but we're kind of transitioning away from like the very core basics into actual strategy and gameplay now, aren't we? So this newbie guide itself is probably going to come to a close in not too long. I don't anticipate it going more than 15 videos, for example. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop StarCraft content on my channel. One of the points of this newbie guide was to transition out of the newbie guide and into sort of like a ladder thing where I play some StarCraft here and there, and just play StarCraft on the channel. So that's one thing I wanted to do with this guide, is kind of transition, was put this out there and then transition out of it into just some multiplayer play, like 1v1s and stuff like that. So don't think that just because we're transitioning away from newbie concepts in this guide that we're actually going to be doing anything like stopping StarCraft on the channel, because again, I do intend to play StarCraft beyond this point. But again, just let me know where you're at so that I can get a feel for where future videos in this series perhaps should go. Maybe we'll go like 15 or 20 episodes here, because maybe there are more concepts to touch on than I thought. In any case, performance, I did better than my average. Where did I do better than my average? Wow, I spent less time supply capped in this game. Clapped like thunderclap? No. Workers created more workers than usual. Higher APM than usual. Wow. I seem to have taken to Protoss fairly well. I think a lot of this is because I played the Legacy of the Void campaign That's one thing I do whenever a new Starcraft game releases. So I'll play right through it pretty much immediately. So I played Legacy of the Void, and that's all Protoss gameplay, the majority Protoss gameplay. So I felt pretty comfortable going into these matches. Okay, well, that's all neither here nor there. In the next episode, we are probably going to be going versus AI as Zerg again, and trying to fill up this bar even further, if not completely. I don't want to show every game in this process, because at this point there's probably going to be like a win, win, loss, win, loss, win, 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 loss, loss, win, 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 loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, and, until eventually it's like win, 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 and then one more win will fill up the bar. It's probably good, something like that. Maybe not exactly that much, or the ratios might not be like that. But I don't want to show every game. I feel like that's not really newbie friendly, because it's just showing. And at that point, you're just playing StarCraft. I want to move on to the unranked portion of this learning curve that Blizzard has put in here, this path to getting you acclimated to StarCraft 2 multiplayer. I want to move on to unranked. So we're probably just going to do 1 or 2 more videos on this portion right here. If I have to play through a few of them and then just get to like right here before we move on, then I might end up doing something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I want to get out of the unranked. I want to get out of the versus AI bit and move on to unranked pretty soon, and start playing against actual players, and put that in the newbie guide, where we can again transition even further away from the basic concepts into more strategy and showing what the play field is like out there. And we're kind of approaching that point, which is why I'm talking about it right now. And we'll do a few games there, and then we'll move on to actual ranked. And we'll probably do our placement matches, our 5 placement matches here. Well, you know what? That whole 15 episodes only thing, that's probably way off. There may be like 20 or 25 episodes to this newbie guide. I don't know. However many it needs to be, I'm going to try and condense it to the point where it is still a newbie guide by the end of it, so it's still its own little unique thing as a newbie guide. And then whenever the newbie guide stops, we'll just go into normal StarCraft play. We just won't be calling it a newbie guide, and I won't be focusing so much on teaching aspects of the game in that case. But yeah, eventually we want tournaments in the newbie guide. That's the ultimate goal, to get to tournaments, to show how they work out. Maybe do 1, maybe do 2, probably 1, and go from there. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.